All right, thanks, Dave. I think obviously when you have a really good team, you are dependent on a multitude of guys, and obviously with some bumps and injuries that we have here, one actually happened today in a workout. It's an opportunity for others to step up, and I thought really, Cam McGee going into the starting lineup did a really good job. Gilmore he's battled some sickness right now, gave us everything he could. Xavier Amos getting 20 some minutes, and I thought defensively did some really good things on Garcia and made it harder. But you have to have other guys step up, and as you go through a season, and that's, I think, shows the unselfishness of this group, the connectiveness of this group, and how they want to play with and for each other. So that second half we got the ball moving. Even we did in the back half of the first half, got it moving. We're able to get some good looks. In the second half we got those to go down, which it's a matter of time if we can continue to be unselfish and move the ball and obviously have it put away relatively early in the second half. So proud of our guys, and use a day tomorrow to continue to get healthier and get ready for Ohio State coming in next week.
Nick, and then Mark.
Hey, Greg, I know this certainly doesn't always tell the full story, but Steve plus 35 tonight, 18, I think shot like 85%. Just what stood out about his aggressiveness, and how has that been so key this streak?
He was a grown man. I mean, that's what we've seen here, really since probably Butler, right? He understands how good he can be when he's aggressive. I think the rotational shift and getting him in and out in shorter spurts has helped, but he's also just been assertive, and dominant in his own way. So it's great to see, and I think it's helped, to take the pressure off Blackwell, pressure off Tanjay. We don't have to, I've said before, we can come at you in a lot of different ways and have different guys lead the scoring charge, and when you have two, bigs like Steve and Nolan, and you can depend on them, that's makes us really hard to guard, because we can play a lot of different ways, and I'm just happy for Steve, because he's been committed to this thing and to this place for a long time, and has worked extremely hard, and like so I always say, an aggressive Steve is a good Steve, and got to keep that going.
Get a mic for Mark, please.
Greg, along the lines of your bigs, I think 5 of your first 6 threes in the second half were from your big guys. When they're hitting from that range, what does that? Just can you speak to the effect it has on just the entire offense?
Yeah, I mean it allows us to spread the floor even more. Defensively, you can kind of see how teams are trying to play us, and they're trying to take away something, right? But we have the versatility and really good players. They're going to find the opening and find who can get let's work for the best shot we can get. But I think to be able to open the floor up a little bit there early in the second half, knock down some threes, and then allowed Tanjay and Blackwell and others to play downhill, and you get a little more. We got them spread out where we could get some more bigger gaps to drive and draw fouls, and that's what we were able to do.
Michael, up front.
You said for a while that players earn their minutes, not their scoring, but their defense. I guess, how did Xavier kind of exemplify that tonight with his extended minutes?
Yeah, I think he's playing much more physical than he did when he first got here, and he understands the jump that he's had to make, and to come to this level you're gonna have to play physical. But then it's 6'8", 6'9", and he's got a long wingspan, so he closed out once right in front of me in the first half and was able to block a shot. He covers a lot of ground. He's got long arms, and he's understanding and starting to embrace more of the physical nature that is needed from that. And he wasn't exceptionally crisp offensively, but I thought he was physical with Garcia and was in the mix for the most part defensively in the paint.
Greg, you have a fair amount of newer faces on this roster, and facing the border battle for the first time. What did you see in those guys when they hit the floor today?
Nothing different than normal. I mean, we don't approach this any different than we do any other game. And I tell them that we are not, and they know that, how I approach it, how our staff approaches it. We've had really good players come from the state of Minnesota. I think they've all had really good experiences here, starting back to, I think Cameron Taylor was the first one I recruited almost 25 years ago, and that helps, in terms of the people that have come in front of them have done a really good job, have had great experience here, but they all come for their own reasons, but I think they see that you can have a lot of success, get a great degree, they just love being a part of this program. And so I don't talk it any different, I don't talk about Illinois or Northwestern any differently with Xavier Amos than I do Nolan Winter or Steve Crowell or Janicki about Minnesota. We played Estonia, I wouldn't say anything different to Marcus Ilver. So this is how we prepare every single day for every single game. And hopefully over the course of time, I don't have to give a Newt Rockne speech. All that you can't do that over 35 games, because then what do I say for the next one? I throw out Newt Rockne because Janicki's a big Notre Dame football fan and he's on cloud 9 right now after last night. So, but it's just they understand our approach. It's an everyday mentality, and we'll just approach the next day because that's all we can control.
Jim, and then in the back.
I have a two-parter for you on Steve. Mind if I go one at a time?
No problem.
The first one, you said earlier that you're happy for him. Your reaction after his and one was pretty demonstrative. Was that kind of what we were seeing? It's just you being happy for him?
Yeah,
getting
I mean, he knows we've had some hard conversations over the years. I've gotten after him, and I think it's I think I mentioned the rotation thing has helped him just come in and put the foot on the gas and go for 3 minutes, get you out, and playing you in shorter spurts has helped both Steve and Nolan. I think Gilmore's emergence has really helped us be comfortable doing that, and same thing with Amos. But he also knows time is ticking, right? He's a senior, so there comes a point in time. If we've seen it, we've seen him, be aggressive, and then where's Steve? And then he's good, and then where's Steve? So I've always said big guys develop at a different rate, physically and mentally, than other positions. And like I said, just for his commitment to stay with it and keep pushing and take coaching, and we've coached him hard and demanded a lot, and you want to have him playing his best basketball as a senior. That means he's gotten better, and the consistency is part of getting better. So that's why I'm happy for him, because I know, we pushed him hard, and he's pushed himself hard.
That goes right into part two. You called him out after the Illinois game,
Right.
And maybe you don't do that for anybody. Maybe it's different for a fifth-year senior, but or maybe not. It's had its desired effect, right?
I'm honest, and they know that. They know I love them. I got their back for the rest of my life. I always tell them, until they shovel dirt on me, I'm with you. I got you. And he knows that, and I just try to speak truths to him, and they appreciate that. We have coaches say that players have changed, kids have changed. No, they haven't. The really good ones want to be coached. They want to be coached. The environment around them has changed, but the 17 guys I got in my locker room, and obviously I got one of my own and my son, but I don't see a difference. I don't see it. Their environment and their external is a little different. They got a lot of other things to have to deal with, in addition to NIL and portal, and they got social media. But the ones that want to be good are coachable, and we try to make sure when we're recruiting, you want somebody that's hungry and wants to be coached. And I'm going to be very honest with you, and there might be things that you don't like what I say, but I'll be honest with you, and then I'll help you get better, and our staff will help you get better. And when you have players that appreciate that and buy into that and commit to that, it's a long, hard road, right? It's not easy being a college player. Daniel Freitag's going through that right now. It's not easy, and he's got to continue to work through that. And his locker's right next to Steve's downstairs, and I say, ask this guy what it's been like, and he's like, yeah. He goes, my freshman year, and it's just hard at this level. All players are good, and they're physical and big, and you got all the other things that allow players to stay longer, and maturity and experience is a definite ace that we have, and we want to make sure we keep that and continue to develop the younger guys and help them get better. So they're one day they're the Steve Crowell dominating and really consistent.
Coach, you touched on the fact that you take a 1-point lead in half and then you kind of open it up in the second.
Right.
What did you see that maybe changed? What did you like that was able to help grow that lead?
Well, we made shots. I mean, that's the obvious one. I thought we got in the first half, I thought we were too impatient. We tried to drive on the first or second side, and Minnesota did a really good job of loading the gaps and plugging the lane. And we had needed to move the defense before we tried to attack. And the second half, I thought we were more patient. It helps when you make shots because that gets people spread out and they aren't as susceptible to stay in the paint for as long when you start worrying about closing out. But I thought we got to multiple sides more consistently in the second half than what we did in the first.
Just had one more from Michael.
A lot of attention goes to the offense and how many points you guys can score, but I guess have players learned anything about how they could raise their ceiling defensively?
Yeah, I think I think we've gotten better in spurts defensively. As a coach, I'll always find the things we're not good enough at, and they understand it, and I say that because I listen to what they say in the huddles and when they come to those timeouts, what they're talking about, and sometimes it's jubilation, sometimes it's, hey, we have to keep pressure on the ball or make sure we're loading the paint, whatever it may be. They are very keen. They know. I have really smart players, and more often than not, they know exactly. I could really trade seats with them in the timeout sometimes, and they could lead it. And I let them talk because they're the ones playing it, and let them converse back and forth. And I think that's, when you get a player-coach team or a coach team, you have a really, that gives you a chance to have a really, really good team when the players are taking ownership and understand how important every possession is, how important the offense is, how important the defense is, and as much as everybody's made about our offense, they understand defense is a big piece of what we continue to do.
Just a quick follow-up, I guess those player-led conversations, are they more often than not defensive-oriented?
Both. I wouldn't say it's always defensive. It was when we were down 15-5. It was like, hey, we're getting good looks. We need to crank it up defensively. We need to turn up the pressure on the ball. We need to, and they did that. They got some offense from their defense and got us going a little bit offensively. Because I thought we had good looks in the first, those first 5-8 minutes. Didn't go down, but defensively is where we were able to dig our heels in and be able to bite back, so to speak. And get momentum going from what we did defensively.